My name's Todd Warczak. I'm a graduate researcher here at Dartmouth in the Garano lab. So I study arsenic. Arsenic is a metalloid found in the earth. It's found everywhere in the soil. Some places have higher arsenic concentrations than other. And so I'm really concerned about keeping arsenic out of our crops. Rice takes up more arsenic from the soil than other crops. So too much arsenic is getting into the rice grain, which is the part of the crop that we eat. Some researchers are focused on just keeping it out of the grain, but we think there's good ways to eliminate arsenic from the plant entirely. So we have evidence that arsenic entering the plant roots is able to be recycled back out into the soil, but we don't know how that works. We're really trying to find the role players, the genes and the proteins that are responsible for these processes. And so we're looking at a very specific spot in the plant, down in the roots, at the outside layers of the roots. And we think that those 2 or 3 layers are playing a very specific and a very important role in eliminating arsenic from the plant. We can take advantage of that native mechanism and increase the amount of arsenic that's leaving the plant. And we think that's a great strategy for not only preventing arsenic from entering the grain, but just getting it out of the plant entirely. For a long time, this type of research was conducted using the entire plant or entire tissues of the plant. But as we are able to ask more detailed questions, we needed more detailed data to form these hypotheses. So right now we're using the technique called fluorescently activated cell sorting, which allows us to take certain plant cells specific to the roots and isolate them away from all the other cells. And when we collect the different pools of cells from the roots, we can perform RNA sequencing after the plants have been exposed to arsenic to see which genes were activated or repressed by the presence of arsenic in very specific root cells. If each type of cell plays a different role in the detoxification process, we can really tease out which cells are performing which roles. If there's a mechanism specific to one layer of cells, we can take advantage of that specific mechanism to do a specific process for us. Rice is grown in these flooded paddies, and that constant layer of water on top of the soil creates this anoxic environment which allows arsenic in the soil to be released and be more available to the plants. So even though there's the same amount of arsenic in the soil, because rice is grown in that flooded condition, more arsenic is available to the rice. Arsenic is chemically similar to phosphate or silicate, which are molecules that the plant wants, so it brings in those good molecules, and arsenic is transported through those same channels. Yeah, so I'll take plants that have already been exposed to control or arsenic conditions. I'll harvest the roots, and then I'll put those roots in a solution with enzymes that will digest the cell wall. I have a very stressful hour where I pack up my things. I drive over to the hospital where I can finish collecting all the cells that were released by that solution. In the research facility there, they have a cell sorter. It's a machine that will capture just the cells that I want from plant roots. And there's only one of those in the area, and so I have to take all my plants from my lab in Hanover, New Hampshire, over to Lebanon, New Hampshire. These cells have GFP fluorescing in the cytoplasm, and the instrument that I'm using has lasers that can capture those cells with the GFP and pull them together away from the other cells. So at the hospital, I'm collecting these different pools of cells, which we will then use to isolate the RNA from those specific cell types. I'm really motivated by this project because it seems like a problem that we can actually solve. I do eat rice. I wouldn't eat brown rice every day, but I know a lot of the world depends on rice. So while it's an important issue for everyone, People around the world that depend on rice for sustenance really need this research, where it's highly likely that they're consuming more arsenic than those that are not eating rice. Most people understand how human activity has polluted our air and oceans, but we're also responsible for adding arsenic to certain soils. For decades, arsenic pesticides were used on crop fields that now grow rice. Since we've made this arsenic problem worse, we have extra responsibility to prevent arsenic from entering our food. Asking questions that have never been asked before, it can be frustrating, but finding solutions to these problems that no one has answers to is really the most exciting part.